no. I love being raggedy. It's like I just get to be gross and my hair is a mess. But like again, I'm not ashy, but I'm just like not
Yes.
trying.
You don't have to think about it.
At all.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's something nice about being off and going to the bathroom and seeing yourself in the mirror and being like, oh, like, ooh, God, I'm glad nobody's going to see me today.
Hello, it's Brooke Devard, and you're listening to the Naked Beauty Podcast. Today's guest really needs no introduction. It is the one and only Issa Rae, and this interview with her is one unlike I've ever heard before. In preparation for this episode, I pored over every article she's done, every interview she's done, and I realized that a lot of people ask her about her business acumen, her entrepreneurship, of course, her artistry, creating all of these iconic shows like Insecure and Rap Shit, all of the movies she's done. But I was like, I really want to understand what Issa's relationship to beauty is, what her relationship to self-care is. I do want to ground the conversation in some of her incredible accomplishments. Issa Rae is an iconic actress, writer, director, producer, and business owner. Issa is a graduate of Stanford University, like me, and went on to write a web series published on YouTube called Awkward Black Girl, which got wide attention and acclaim and led to Issa's first show with HBO, Insecure. Insecure was a cultural phenomenon. We can all attest to the fact that we were all hooked and glued on Insecure. It was nominated for 3 Critics' Choice Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, and 3 Emmy Awards. Insecure was revolutionary for the culture, and Issa didn't stop there. She's gone on to found Hooray Media, create 2 more shows with HBO, star in the Barbie movie, President Barbie, and so much more. Please join me in welcoming Issa Rae to Naked Beauty. Issa, welcome to Naked Beauty. I'm so excited for this conversation. I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yes, I feel like, one, the skin is glowing and gorgeous in person, which I had no doubts, but like your skin is incredible. And I'm also excited to talk to you about beauty and self-care because I've consumed a lot of your interviews and like people always ask you about business and like what's next. People love to ask you what's next.
Yes, they sure do.
And I'm like,
that's an anxiety-inducing question. It really is.
And you do so much. So I'm like, how do you take care of yourself? Like, what's your self-care routine? So we're going to get into all of that.
Okay.
But I want to start with growing up. You grew up in LA, in Maryland, in Senegal. Did you feel beautiful growing up? And how did each of those places kind of influence your understanding of beauty?
Ooh, did I feel beautiful growing up? Honestly, I feel like all kids grow up with so much confidence and then it's just taken away from you at a specific age.
Right.
And I definitely I remember being very boy crazy. And it wasn't until 6th grade moving back to LA from Maryland where I was like, I just knew. It was summer, we moved, and I just knew going into 6th grade, I was like, ooh, niggas about to be fighting over me. And that was not the case at all. And it was like, I thought I was the shit, and I just didn't get why other people weren't attracted. And so that was the beginning of like my self-confidence going away. And I had to find, like, if I didn't feel beautiful, I had to find something else to have as my own. Okay. And I didn't really feel like beautiful until I went to Senegal when I was like in high school. When I turned like 17, we went back to Senegal, and it was my first time going back. Maybe 16, 17 as a teenager, and it was like seeing other women who like looked like me, who had my skin tone, and like feeling desired. And I was just like, oh, I'm in a place that thinks that I'm beautiful, where like what I look like is a beauty standard. And that was just earth-shattering. It was like life-changing for me.
Wow. It really shows how much like the environment you're in shapes your own understanding of your own beauty.
Yeah, LA was not the place to feel beautiful. I gotta say that. It kind of still isn't. It will not affirm you in some areas. It just depends on where you are and who you're around. But
yes.
Yeah, it's rough out here.
Well, I feel like you are objectively gorgeous. So
thank you.
But it's like it's interesting how like rejection from boys or like just what you see in pop culture like shapes your understanding of what's considered beautiful, even though you know your truth.
Yeah. I mean, when did you feel beautiful?
So I watched a lot of 106 and Park music videos. So I feel like that was I didn't have the butt. I didn't have the, you know, I didn't have all that stuff. So I felt like I was awkward because I didn't have all of those things. But again, it's just like the media you consume. But I think if I had seen Insecure and I had seen a character like Issa, you know, that would have helped a lot growing up. And I'm sure you hear that from Black women all the time.
Not on the beauty side. I mean, I think
Really?
about like generally people might feel represented. I guess I've never unpacked what that meant.
Oh, definitely on the beauty
for
side.
them. But that's amazing to hear. But you're right. Like music videos, magazines, all of that. I remember reading about how that was affecting us and like affecting us societally. And I didn't realize the impact of it until I guess now when you see that, you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with if you're not satisfied with your appearance, deciding to change it. But a lot of that has been influenced by what we've seen, that feeling of not feeling good enough. So there's clearly a direct correlation between like watching 106 and Park videos and being like, my butt isn't big enough to being like, oh, I can make it big enough now.
Right. That's so true. We have to talk about Stanford University. I was class of 2011.
Oh, snap! I did not know that.
Yeah, so I think you were a senior when I was a freshman.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought 10 was the last because I graduated 07. So you
yeah,
were so there.
I was there 07. Yes.
Where did you live?
I lived so many different places. I lived in Larkin my freshman year. Okay. I lived in Suites. I lived in Mirrlees.
You lived in Mirrlees. I definitely lived in Mirrlees. You never lived in Ouge, clearly.
I never lived in Ouge.
I'm glad I didn't live in Ouge.
There was so much going on at Ouge.
It was always something going on. It was a good place to like go and then leave.
And then leave, exactly. That's the Black House for everyone listening.
Yeah.
But it was a culture shock for me coming from New York City. I was not prepared for Palo Alto. I was not prepared for Stanford.
Nobody was prepared for Palo Alto, for the record.
It's just not even a real place. But how deep in the Stanford culture were you? Like, were you doing full moon at the Quad?
I did it once.
Freshman year?
No, I actually did it later. I was so anti when I got there. I was very immersed. Okay. Like, yes. Like, you know, I came from a predominantly Black and Latino school. So I was very much in like, where's the Black bubble? Like, where am I? Where are my people at? And it was, and I was the only one. 5 people from my high school got into Stanford, and they all got put in Ouge, and I was the only one that was in Rinconada my freshman year. So I was like across campus, and I was like, "This
way
is
out."
What? Like, how did y'all get this? And so I was very much, I don't know. I just didn't think it was cool, you know. And then it wasn't until like. Maybe junior and senior when I lived off campus. I got an apartment off campus because I was grown.
Oh, wow.
After Mirrlees, I got the bug, you know?
Right.
And then full moon on the Quad, I did my senior year with some friends. We were like, we should just do it for once. And it was fun.
Can you explain full moon on the Quad?
I can't. You explain it. I really don't know.
It's the first full moon of the year, right? And everyone descends on the Quad at like midnight and kisses
people. Yes, and that's the thing. Mono was spreading during my freshman year, so I was like, I'm not doing this. But I participated my senior year. So I don't even know who I kissed, but shout out to him.
Freshmen have to find seniors to kiss.
Oh, so I kissed a freshman?
But I just remember seeing these like tables of mouthwash in different corners of the Quad. I was like, what is this? Like, what are my 4 years going to be like?
So you did it?
I observed.
You didn't participate?
I didn't participate.
You never participated even
I never participated, no. Because I was afraid of the germs.
I get that.
But I'm curious for you, like as a creative, I was an English major and I did the film society. I did the Sundance trip every year. Like that was my only saving grace.
I wish I participated in that. I didn't.
It's hard, right? To be a creative in such a tech heavy school. So how did you kind of find your place? I'm
actually really, really grateful that it wasn't such an art space because I really wanted to go to NYU. And in visiting, one, it wasn't a campus. So I was just like, oh, I want a campus experience. And then 2, so many of the best artists go there. And I might have been intimidated. I might have been in my head. Whereas at Stanford, there were so many people who were like hum bio or like human biology and wanting to be doctors, wanting to be, you know, in tech and lawyers. And so there was just a wide open lane for me wanting to put on plays and direct and write. And, you know, the camera was always available in the library. So like I could just do whatever. And people were forgiving of because my plays weren't great at all. And so it was, I didn't know what I was doing, but I had the freedom to experiment. And then the person who was like the lead of our play was trying to be a doctor, and he could have freedom in being like, okay, I'm in the lead in this and I'm trying this out. So it was very forgiving and free, and it helped to build my confidence as an artist.
Yeah. I remember knowing that you did art stuff on campus. Like you were friends with people in Everyday People, that a cappella group. Remember Everyday People?
Yes, which I actually hate a cappella, but yes, I would support my girl in it.
Yes, yes. And by the time Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl came out, everyone was rooting for you. Everyone was like, this girl went to Stanford.
Yes, that's right. There was, so much of the Stanford community, because there are a lot of awkward Black girls at Stanford, as you know.
A lot, yeah.
So it was like, that was like my main audience, the core audience. And my first web series was about being Black at Stanford, the Dorm Diaries. So there was
gosh, yes.
Yeah, that was like, I remember hearing that someone was going to reboot it, and I was like, that's dope, but I don't know if it ever happened.
I don't know if that happened either, but certainly people in the creative space of Stanford have been watching your career, since you were at the school.
That's so dope to hear.
Yeah, because it's you and who? Alexander Payne? Like those are the only.
I feel like Reese Witherspoon, didn't she go to Stanford?
Yes, I guess actresses, yeah, and Sterling K. Brown.
Sterling K. Brown,
but I think about
and Ryan.
Writers. There's not that many.
Yeah, that's true. Writers are low key though, for the most part.
True.
I didn't know Alexander Payne went to Stanford.
Yeah, he did.
I need to have do you go to your reunions?
No.
You checked out.
No, you know what? I'm still best friends with my roommates. We all hang out all the time. They're here in LA. But we went to one reunion and we just all hung out together. We were like, we don't have to be here.
I will say the last one I went to, not this one, maybe it was my 10-year. I talked to a girl from my dorm who's doing amazing things. Like I've never felt so oh, I'm not doing anything, because she was just giving. She had a company that was giving back in so many ways, and it was also science focused. And I was like, people from this school are so impressive, and I never made the effort. So that's what it was good for. But I still hung out with my friends. Mostly.
Yes. I want to talk about your hair evolution, because you're both on the show and in real life, you always give such a hair moment. So I want to hear how your relationship with your hair has changed over the years.
So much. I have gone from the burden of my hair and sometimes still feeling like, oh God, I got to figure out my hair. I got to do my hair. But again, on the beauty side, not feeling like my hair was in its natural state beautiful. Even though my mom tried to instill it in me, we had different hair textures. My mom she's from Louisiana, and she has natural hair, but her hair texture is just different, and she's more fair skinned. So I was always like, you don't know my struggle, and you can't make me feel beautiful. Stop trying to tell me Black is beautiful. And school, again, in middle school, high school, everybody was perming their hair, or they had the fresh presses going, and my hair was just too fine to do that. And so
we also didn't have YouTube and Pinterest
to
all of
help
these
you
things.
Figure it out. No,
you were out here on your own.
And so I experimented with a lot of different styles. I wore my hair in braids a lot in high school. When it was out, I was just wear a scarf or a hood, just because I just didn't want to deal with it. And I used to really bother my mom, well, where did I go wrong? Where you don't want to do it. And it wasn't until I guess college, again, seeing so many girls wearing their natural hair. I remember a friend of mine, Keisha, seeing her hair in her natural hair in twists, and she would just look so fly wearing it. And I was like, oh, let me try this on my own. And it looked terrible. I remember coming back home and my little brother being like, what the fuck are you? What is your hair doing? And I was like, you just don't, you from LA, you're still out here. You're still, you don't get it. But he was right. Looking back on those pictures, I was like, the YouTube tutorials were definitely needed. But yeah, then I cut it all off in promotion of Awkward Black Girl. And that's what changed my life. I feel like everybody should do a big shop
at least
once in your life, because it really just frees you of your hair expectations in so many ways, and to just have a bald head and wake up and be cold, but also just be free, was a feeling I had never felt before, because it was just
there I am,
this is your face is here, and the only annoying part is that men would just come up and just think you were deep. for no reason,
Right.
and just be like, sister, oh, like, and it's just like, no, I'm very shallow, actually. So
Don't let the bald head fool
don't
you.
let the bald head fool you. I'm not Badu.
The hairstyles that you wore on Insecure, they're like this canon for what you can do with natural hair. Like you and Felicia just created some incredible looks. Like week after week, you're just like, what's the next hairstyle going to be? What was it like working with her?
She's the best. Like, and she used to go by loving your hair, and it's actually what she was put on this earth for, to make you love your hair, because she also loves your hair, and to have that not be a worry, to walk on set and know that she was going to, take care of my hair and be an artist and like use my hair as a canvas to show off what she can do. Like one of my favorite tweets that I saw was like, Issa got 3 inches of hair and she
and 400 hairstyles.
Exactly. And that was all her. And that was, and then, like it was, I definitely gave her freedom to do what she wanted to do. There were definitely some times where now we could joke about it and I'd be like, girl, that did not go with that fit. Or this was clearly the same day. Like, why does Issa have 3 hairstyles on this
we
day
loved it. We loved it.
And, this was her first TV project. So she was learning too. But it was just like, that's my age. She just gets it. And I feel blessed to have randomly met her.
She did an incredible job. And I think Insecure, we watched for the plot, of course, but there was this visual element to Insecure. The hair, obviously all of the visuals that Melina provided, Shiona in the later seasons with all of the styling, the cast, you cast some beautiful people, right? Just beautiful men and women, right? So there's just like so much visual eye candy. How do you feel like you developed your aesthetic and like appreciation for visuals? Was it through watching movies?
I mean, it was definitely through watching lots and lots of movies. And I just remember a period in high school in particular, like the way television shows made me feel. Certain television shows made me feel like they were a part of my life, or they were a part of my core memories. And
Which
there are these
shows?
feelings. Some of them are embarrassing to say. I mean, there were definitely shows on WB, like those teen shows. But one show I remember in particular, Roswell. Did you ever watch Roswell?
I never watched Roswell, but I'm familiar with it.
There was a specific aesthetic. It was dark. It was, in hindsight, dumb. Like, it was about these teenage aliens that had come in Roswell, New Mexico. And, Roswell, New Mexico is known for Area 51, and there's supposedly like a crash landing spaceship. So it was about a girl who worked at a diner in Area 51, Roswell, New Mexico, and these aliens come down and they're like 3 attractive teenagers, and she falls in love with one. Okay. But like
lots of world building.
Sure. What's her name? Catherine. That was Katherine Heigl's like first major role.
Oh, okay.
Before she went berserk. And I remember they had the theme song, Dido. I can't remember what song it was called, but Eminem sampled. No, he didn't sample that.
My Tea's Gone Cold?
Yeah, no, that's a different. That one was for Stan.
Okay.
But this one was, I'm not going to sing it. What the fuck am I doing? But it was so, like, it just brought you in. And the music was really good in that show. And, like, there was something about that feeling in shows like that where I was like, if I have a show, like, the music has to be right. It has to have a feeling. The lighting has to be great. But I don't know how to do those things. So having someone like Melina come in and direct it and establish visuals, and working with other artists like the Ayanas and the Shionas and obviously the Prentices in some ways. Like, everybody brings their own aesthetic, and it was like a marriage of aesthetics, and I had to, like, pull it together through something that would make me feel. And I'm glad that other people felt it too.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of Black excellence, and the music as well that you're mentioning. I mean, Rap Shit, your other baby. One of the things that you explore on that show is the music industry and how vulnerable people are in the music industry. But Hollywood is kind of the same. So I'm curious how you've learned to kind of stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself in these industries that don't often give the artist a lot of agency to make decisions. I think the music industry is probably worse than any other industry.
Yeah. The music industry to me is harder because at least Hollywood, I've prepped for it, and I've watched so much of like the process, and it now is a bit easier to advocate for myself.
Right.
Sometimes I advocate too much, I'm not gonna lie, and have to like fall back and remember like this is a collaborative process, or I know that I'm not always right all the time, but sometimes you can come into it and feel like um you have one opportunity to get it
Mm-hmm.
right, and
Mm-hmm.
I hold that very dear. Like I want to get it right out the gate, and if everybody thinks they know best, then we won't get anywhere. And it's so important to me to come with an open mind, but to have work with other people who are coming with an open mind too. On the music industry side, it's so wild west, and it almost feels like there are no rules. And because I'm not as well versed in the world, it's a bit, it's just harder to navigate in some ways, because it's also become the norm that it's kind of crooked. Like
Right.
I've said this before, but there are a lot of conflicts of interest. Like you could have a label but also manage an artist. Like you could also
Right.
your lawyer can rep you and the label. There's just all these different components that I'm just like that can't happen. Some of those things can't happen in Hollywood. Hollywood is some fucked up shit, but there's just other, and even the way that artists get paid, like the fact that they can't even get paid off of the music itself. Like they have to
No.
have multiple other avenues of income, because it's so much harder and fucked up.
Right. I mean, the success of Fenty Beauty, I feel like we're never going to get another album from
I
Rihanna.
know. I'm like, and I don't blame
And
you,
I don't
girl.
blame her. Exactly.
I don't blame you, girl. Raise your family. Have another boy or girl.
Can we talk about the trailer that was released today?
Yes, let's talk about it.
Because I love SZA. I've always loved SZA. And we love Kiki.
Yes.
To see them together in this like buddy movie, I'm just so excited for it. Tell us about the project. And was it also your idea to work with SZA in this way? Because we haven't seen her like act.
Yeah, this is, first of all, I'm huge fans of them both. Like SZA was a muse for Insecure. Kiki can make everything entertaining. She was also in the last season in a really fun way. But like Kiki also is almost like, I just have a new respect for her. She was also a producer on this movie, and just watching her work and knowing how much she does, it was incredible. And SZA, this is her first major acting role.
Yeah.
Like, she did a stint for us on Insecure, but like absolutely hilarious. And it wasn't my idea and initially to bring SZA to the project. I want to say the head of Sony was just like, my daughter really loves SZA, and I was
it's always the daughter. It's always like my teenager loves this person.
SZA. And I was like, I don't even know if she would do something like this. And then she was all the way down to come in. She auditioned.
Wow. Once she heard you were attached, probably.
Listen, give me some credit. Thank you. I'll take it. But like then their chemistry was just
yes, I can
amazing.
feel it.
And this is before that they did. Was it before they did the SNL episode together? I don't want to lie. So I don't know if it was before or after, but they were just fully locked in. I think it was after when they did the auditions together. So at least that they had some experience doing the promos together. But they were just immediately amazing. And Kiki is such a professional veteran. She was also like, yeah, I'll go to your house. Like, I'll practice with you for the audition process for the chemistry reads, because you have to do it on tape, and then the studios have to see it, and they have to buy it. And so they were just so locked in, and I cannot wait for people to see their dynamic in the movie, like their improv game together. Also, the conversations that they would have, I would want to be like, y'all know y'all are mic'd, please. They would get into these like random conversations. They're funny as fuck is all I'll say.
I can't wait for the movie. It looks like it's going to be so fun.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And like, that's also, I'm such a fan of the writer of the movie, Sarita Singleton. Yes. She just writes Black girls, Black women, Black friendships so well. Like, I worked with her on rap shit as well, and she was right on Insecure. But this was like her baby from the start. This is like 7 years in the making. So to see the script evolve, and I've always thought it was funny, but to have these two actresses bring it to life, again, I can't wait for people to see it.
Yes, it takes so long to get things made in Hollywood.
Truly does.
I always forget how long these projects are in development.
Infuriating, but I think it's the right time.
Yes. Now, your character character as Issa on the show evolved and grew, and we saw like the style glow up by like the final season, the outfits, everything. How do you feel your style has evolved over the years?
It's in some ways it's become more aware and intentional. I think before I was just like, I'm in work mode. Like I'm not thinking about all of that, and I'm not seen as much. And now I like I love clothes. I love figuring out like what aesthetic I want to have, even seasonally. And there's just something about also getting older and not wanting to not wanting to shy away from like what a woman, what the woman version of me is.
Yes.
And that is something I never thought that I'd imagine, because there's, especially in this culture, there's such a desire to stay young and to stay, you know, like in your 20s in that way. And
I mean,
I'm
you're
like,
still very young.
yes, and I'm still young, but I'm still like, yeah, I'm a grown ass woman, and what does that version of me look like? And I can't wait to kind of step into that era.
Yes, I feel like you have like perfect like minimalist glam
Minimalist
style.
is my bag. I love it generally.
Yes.
I don't like to do the most in any way.
You don't have to. You're just like, look at the skin, look at the cheek, look at the material.
Stop.
We don't need to do too much. It's interesting to hear you say that you enjoy it and you like it, because I was thinking about just the process of glam, right? You said you had to do some speaking earlier today. Pretty much anytime you show up as Issa Rae, you have to, I would assume, do glam, do hair, do makeup, figure out what you're going to wear. And I think about men like Larry David
God.
doesn't have to, he could do 10 interviews in a day. He's just going to wear whatever.
Show up, yeah.
Right. So do you resent it ever that you can't just show up and just speak about the work, that you have to also present, and this is for all women in the industry, but that you also have to present with the hair and the makeup and the outfit?
No, I don't resent it. It's fun.
It's
But I think
fun.
in the past, when it was a time suck, like I think if anything, the only thing I resent is like the hours, where it's like my call time is significantly earlier
Right.
because I have to do the glam time. And so now I have a 16-hour day where maybe you have a 12-hour day.
Right.
That's the only time. But like for appearances, the glam process, you're essentially being pampered and taken care of. And that part is just fun. But there is like if I want to get done with my day sooner, I'm like, oh, I can't just do this thing and run and be out. Like the taking the makeup off and all that at the end of the day is the worst. I've definitely slept like this in bed. I felt like last night I accidentally fell asleep on my couch and was just like, and then washed the makeup off at like 2 a.m. But
right, because you can't. Can you fall asleep with makeup on? I can't.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
what
can?
do you mean?
Oh,
Yes.
no, I can't.
I don't like to, but I didn't even know I was gonna fall asleep last night. So that was like, a struggle. You can't sleep with makeup on?
No, I'm just like, my skincare routine at night is like, I need to do it.
You're like morally, like your body won't let
My
you.
body
Your
will not
body
let
and
me.
mind.
Yeah.
You're like, it would disgust me to sleep.
It would
with
disgust me. Exactly.
Are you disgusted? I just told you.
No, that's okay. This is a safe space. And clearly your skin is very forgiving.
I don't do it all the time. And yeah, I will definitely wake up. Like if I fall asleep, like I also have to have my routine at night and take it off because it also just doesn't feel good. So I've never, I won't say never, I've definitely on a drunken night been like, what the fuck? I'm fully glammed up. But generally, yes, I do take my makeup off.
What is your nighttime skincare routine?
Oh, I love my nighttime routine. It's just gotten better and better.
I'm sorry, I just have to say, I'm looking at your skin. It's poreless, glowing.
I have to confess that I just did a skin tag removal, and I just did it impromptu. I've had them all my life. I have moles, and I grew up with them, and I never minded or didn't know until like I got a new one like recently last year. I went on a trip, and I didn't know that it's caused by like the sun. You get more by the sun, and I wasn't a sunscreen girly for a long time. And so I got one here and I was like, oh, I need to get it removed. Like this one's actually bothering me. And I went in just during our movie. I went in like, I want to say it was like on a Sunday, and I just went into some like spot that I found. I was like, oh, I just wanted to remove this one. And it was this Korean owned spot. And she was like, oh, just get rid of all of them. I was like, what?
Yeah, they just kind of burn them off.
But I didn't want that. Like I had some of them remind me of like my aunts and my grandmothers, and she was just like, "No, take them all off. Like just you're here. You might as well do it, and this is the price." And I was like, "Oh, all right, I'm gonna do this." And I thought I only had like 6. When I tell you I was sitting under that thing, and with every burn, it was like, and then I got it when I got to set the next day. I remember the director. My exec was just like, "Oh, I didn't know you had so many freckles." And I was like, "Girl, you know these are not freckles." I had like burn marks on my face. And then when I went to the director, and this woman to woman is great. The director, who's a man, was like, I walked up to him to give a note, and he was like, "Oh." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got my skin tags removed," because it looks like you tattooed freckles on your face and they're raised.
Right.
And I was like, I told him, he was like, I thought you were like auditioning for a Marvel movie or something. I was like, I hate man so much. But that was also like the first procedure I've ever done. Yes, like drastic change. But yeah, I love it. And that's also like increased my skincare routine because it like taught me about vitamin C and
you need to be really diligent about sunscreen after doing that as well.
I absolutely had to be diligent about something. I wasn't supposed to be in the sun, but it was like a primarily outdoor shoot, and so that was interesting. But now I feel like I'm very much caring for my skin in a new way. But
what's the product rotation?
I use hyaluronic serum, of course, vitamin C. My favorite product that I've talked about is Dutopia from Ole Henriksen.
Ole Henriksen.
Yes, and that was for like I used to get these annoying like period pimples either here or here, and never get them anymore. I barely get pimples when I use them.
Is it a moisturizer?
It's more of like an acid type of thing. Yeah. And so you use it sparingly, but it's like made to sleep overnight in. And so like if I feel a pimple coming on, then I'll put it on, and it's just it's great, and it makes your skin just glow the next morning. And that's like, and if not, then I might use a vitamin C cream to sleep in at night. But that Dutopia is like my secret weapon.
Yes, it's amazing to hear you say that the skin tag removal is like the only procedure thing you've done, because I've only been in LA for 2 years, but everyone here does stuff to their face.
I've seen that.
It
scares me. Like even the needle to numb my face, I was just like, no, I can't. I can't do this anywhere else or ever again.
Yeah. So you feel like you've been able to resist that? Because I feel like it's everywhere, like Botox and filler and...
Yeah, I guess for me,
not that there's anything wrong with it also.
No. But for me, my flaws are what make me me. Like in that, and I've learned through years to embrace that, and I like them now. And yeah, even the skin tag thing was just like, oh, I guess this could be seen as a flaw, but for me, it was just like, it was like this runs in my family, and almost part of that, like I was gonna keep one, and she was like, "Are you sure?" She was a hater, high key. And she was like, "Why would you just keep one?" And I was like, "I guess I got." She was like, "You don't know what you're gonna look like. The rest of your face is gonna be clean. Then you're gonna have one." I was like, "Damn, bitch, fine." So I was like, she shaved my grandma off, but generally, like. I appreciate the things that have made me me, and want to keep that, and altering that feels like I don't know, giving up a part of that.
I totally understand that. You obviously work very hard, hence falling asleep sometimes with your makeup on.
Knew you were judging me.
No, listen, I identify with like a very strong work ethic, like workaholic. You know, it's like seen as a bad thing, but like sometimes you just want to, like, for me, working gives me happiness.
Peace, yes.
Like I love to work. When I'm on vacation for too long, I'm like, when are we wrapping this up so I can get back to my laptop?
Relatable.
But self-care is important as well. One of the things that you showed on Insecure, for me, it was the first time I saw Black women using marijuana as a form of self-care in media. Like,
Mm.
I had to think about it. I was like, had I ever seen that before?
Like for self-care.
Yeah, no, seriously, for self-care. I mean, I saw it in my real life in the
Yeah.
Mirrorleys dorms, when people would, roll up and relax and talk about how stressed we were about finals. But I hadn't seen it in media, and I certainly hadn't seen Black women indulging in using marijuana. And I feel like, obviously, you've got your incredible champagne. Like, if you released like an Issa strain.
Oh man, I'm not versed enough in it. I think even doing it at that time, like I think more I had finally stopped being afraid of weed because in college I partook and I went to hell, and it was just like edibles just weren't my thing, and I had to discover like what wouldn't fuck my mind up.
Right.
And I finally found like the right strain for me, and that's when I was like, "Oh, we putting this shit in Insecure because this really is like this is great for me." But generally, yeah, I had so many bad experiences with it that I wouldn't feel qualified to make a strain because I don't want anybody coming for me saying that they've had a bad experience.
Right.
But I know Lena had one, and she's really well versed, and I've tried hers, and that was even too strong for me. I was like, girl, you tried to kill me. But yeah, I'm much more of a sipper than I am a smoker. I'm definitely a social smoker, but opt for sipping.
For sipping. What do you do for self-care?
I love baths now. I wasn't a big bath taker before, but that is huge for me. I spend a lot of time, like I spend not as much time as I want to anymore, but friends are huge for me, like random outings.
It's hard to do as people get busy.
I know.
Right?
It sucks. It really, really does. Like my friends getting busy has been the worst. It really has.
But tell me if you do this. Have you started having like your admin help you schedule social outings? Because that's where I'm at. Oh, really?
No,
okay.
I want that to be that's when I want that would piss me off. I'm like, oh, I can't.
My friend's like, I'm liaising with your assistant to get lunch on the books with you. But I'm like, that's the only way it's going to happen on my calendar sometimes.
No, there's certain things that I have to do, especially the social things.
Okay.
Vacations, things like that. Like I have to book for the most part myself. She might, shout out to Natalie. She may help me like book my friends. Like if we take a trip together,
the accommodations,
those kind of things. But like
you do the scheduling.
Yes.
All in a group text.
No, I hate a group text.
I hate a group text.
Like I don't want to get those. It's an email, and so that's the convenience of being like, yeah, let's just put this on email. And I have one friend. I'm not an itinerary. Do you do an itinerary on your vacation?
No.
So I'm not an itinerary girl.
Yeah, but my husband does.
Oh, he makes one.
Yeah, he's...
Wait, what's your sign?
I'm Leo.
Oh, you're a Leo.
He's an Aries.
Okay. Oh, mine's an Aries too.
Oh, really?
Are y'all compatible?
Very. What's your sign?
Capricorn.
Capricorn, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But no, my Leo friend, he's the one that makes the itinerary for the trip. And
I'm sure it's fun.
It is, because he gets us. Sometimes he'll be a little overzealous, but he knows his friend group. And so it's around food, and that's the best part.
Yes. And like maybe content breaks as well, or he's not a Leo in that way.
Content breaks? What are those?
Capturing content. Like, oh, we got to get the group picture. We've got to do the TikTok. No.
No, that escaped us. You schedule content? Well...
Yes. As a content creator, I'm always thinking, okay, like when are we going to do the content? But it's good to do. You have to front load it in the vacation. Like you've got to get your content early so then you can like relax.
I guess I just realized I'm the content person.
Oh, you're the content person.
I'm always the one filming, but it's not like organized. It's just like we're doing this.
You just get an idea.
And that's probably why no, it's not like organized content, I guess. It's more like y'all are doing shit and I'm filming it just because and I'm posting it. Like there was one thing that I was going to post for my friend. And I asked her, I was like, can I post this? And she was like, no, absolutely not. What the fuck? I'm drunk and I'm a lawyer. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay.
Right.
Well, damn. So in that way, no. But I have always captured our moments. I like the real stuff.
Yeah.
But that's also like, then I regret that we don't have group pictures. So we do need someone.
Yeah, to schedule. You got to schedule in the content.
All right.
Now, I want to talk about your boundaries with the public, because you're a very private person. You've been able to maintain, you share things, but you've been able to maintain a level of privacy that I think is really admirable.
Thank you.
You popped up married.
I did.
We were all shocked. We were all like, is this real? Is this from a movie set?
I love that.
I mean, we were shocked. We were shocked. We were happy for you. We were thrilled. You looked beautiful. But
Thank
why is it
you.
important to you to keep those boundaries and keep things private?
Because like that is it's precious. Like those when you're talking about my self-care, like that is so much of my self-care is just being able to know that I have this and it's nobody else's. There's no input. There's no beyond like my mom or my family and some occasions like that's it's very very personal. And then yeah, like as a nosy person, I know what it's like to also like be all up in somebody else's business, and I don't want that for me.
Right.
So it's just a choice, and it serves me, and I kind of always been that way, like since high school. And a couple of my friends call me out for it, like even with my friendships, they'll be like, "You ask so many questions, and then you never answer," and that's not intentional. It's just I also think other people are significantly more interesting.
I can relate to that. Like sometimes when I go to dinners with people and they just talk the whole time, I'm like, you're alone with your thoughts all the time. Don't you want to hear from other people? Do you know what I mean?
That's not where I thought it was going.
Where do you think it was going?
I thought you were gonna say when you're at dinner and like you like to talk to like you don't know, you like to question other people, but those people
that just dominate the conversation. I'm like, you are with yourself all the time. Do we need this monologue?
God, those kind of people don't. There's just no self-awareness there, I think, and they think they're the most interesting people in the world, and so some of those, I try to avoid those people as much as possible. But at the same time, sometimes they are the most interesting people in the world.
Rarely.
Yeah, rarely is true. And it's mostly, I find a lot of men do that. Like, and a lot of men don't know how to have good conversations. I'm not trying to.
No, this is all fair. They don't ask follow-up questions.
Yeah, but they don't do that with each other. I feel like that's why men aren't good friends to each other. Because they mostly talk and comment, but they don't prod and poke. And
my husband will be like, "Oh, they're moving to New Mexico." I'm like, "Why are they moving?" I don't know. I'm like,
I didn't like
a huge life change. Like, did you ask any follow-up?
Pisses me off. Like, literally, I was talking to somebody who's talking about like his friend's marriage just fell apart, and I was like, "Oh man, why was it like was it another woman? Was it?" He was like, "Oh, I didn't ask all that," but he was really sad, and I'm like, "What the fuck? You didn't ask anything. His marriage fell apart, and you didn't ask any questions. That's crazy." And I can't imagine that. Like, I would be at my friend's house, like, I know, like the shoulder crying, like all those things.
I would have all the details.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you watch Love Is Blind at all?
Girl, this is the last season I will ever watch again in my life. I'm sick.
I have a theory about Love Is Blind. My theory is that men fall in love on this show so quickly because they're talking for the first time in their life and listening. And it's like, I feel so close to this person. I'm like, welcome to conversation.
But they're also like talking about themselves and being listened to. Like that one relationship that ended with the gentleman whose sisters passed, and he gave the bracelet.
Okay, yeah.
And it's edited, but he was talking so much, and he was one of those people that didn't appear, at least on camera, to be asking follow-up questions. But I'm like, men fall in love when they're just talking, and they think that it was the best conversation ever. They're like, "Oh man, it's so good talking to you because you didn't ask me any questions, and you were just talking about yourself." That's what's crazy. But yeah, that show is deceptive. I'm like, they're not like vetting the men anymore, and that's pissing me off. And they're selling us dreams.
I know. I feel like Lauren and Cam were like the last. Your business endeavors, Sienna Naturals, which I'm our huge fan in our household. We use all of the products. My husband, my son especially. The mousse, the curling mousse, is incredible for twist outs, laying down edges.
I'm taking credit for that as well. Thank you so much.
And I know you work very closely with Hannah, who's incredible. But why was it interesting for you to go into hair specifically? And you kind of did it before. There's now this huge wave of we live in Sacred and Fenty Hair and Taraji P. Henson's line and Gabrielle Union. I mean, there's so many Black women in Hollywood that are in hair, but Sienna Naturals was kind of before all of this.
Yeah, it was being developed for sure before all of that. My involvement in an official capacity happened in 2020, I want to say. But before that, I'd been using the products forever,
Yeah.
since Hannah first started making them, since she first started developing them in her kitchen, and that was when I was starting to grow my hair back out, and so it was the perfect time to be like, okay, sure, let me see how these products affect my hair, and if they're actually moisturizing my hair texture, because we have different textures. And so she also was able to prioritize making making products for my hair texture. And so in some ways, I did feel a sense of ownership for it. And she was testing it on like my little sister and obviously her friends and the like. But I remember every time I go to New York, she'd give me new products to try. And so because I was using them, she asked me if I wanted to come on in an official capacity. And yeah, by that time I had a reputation for like showcasing my natural hair and having different natural hairstyles and taking pride in that. And so there was a natural synergy, and I felt worthy of coming on board.
What have you learned about hair formulation and products since working on Sienna Naturals?
Absolutely nothing. Every single time she talks about it, I'm like, because that is her specialty. I'm the user of the products. There's a specific, she works with a phenomenal chemist. I know that like where the ingredients are concerned, like they're clean, they're good for your hair. They're actually, these vegan products that are healthy. And I've learned a lot about more hair health than the actual process of making them. I know when we were doing the Dream Curl cream, like that, and the mousse went through less iterations than that. But the Dream Curl cream in particular, like that was a product that I requested, and I didn't have the language to describe what I wanted. And so there were so many different iterations of it because she was sending products. And I was like, no, it needs to be like thicker and it needs to like kind of weigh the hair down. And so she would come back and be like, oh, you're talking about still didn't listen, but you're talking about this. Okay, I'll give you this version. And so like, she is so well versed, and I'm just a face.
Well, but you also help on the creative.
100%.
Yes.
I know my strengths.
Yes. And the products are so good. I was trying to count how many businesses you have.
Oh, please don't do this.
Doing like a teaser for this, and I was like, I think I counted 6.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Sure. I've never counted them.
You've got a lot. Was there also, I was asking your team earlier, do you have an ownership stake in a sailing team?
Yes. How did you know that? That was announced? Yes. SailGP. Shout out. SailGP.
Like, how many businesses does
But that's like,
Issa
that
have?
doesn't count. That's like, yes, those are like stakes and
yeah, you've got a lot going on.
But businesses that I claim that I'm involved in, yeah, I think probably that number is close. And then even so, incredible collaborators, incredible people who run them. It's not like I'm day to day on multiple. I can count on 2 to 3 fingers the businesses that I'm like day to day on.
But I would imagine you experience burnout from time to time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
So what does burnout look like for you? How does it manifest?
It manifests sometimes unhealthily in terms of like shutting down. It manifests as powering through, which is also really unhealthy, and just kind of getting it done. But then I might not be my best self, and I like to operate as my best self. Right. So it's taken a form in different ways, but I've gotten a lot better about taking time off.
Okay. Yeah. How often do you take time off?
I know that I have one day a week where I don't do anything, or I try not to do anything.
Does that include the weekends?
Yeah. Well, no.
Okay. In addition to the weekend.
No. One day a week. One day a week where I do it in the week. What do you mean?
Okay. One day a week. So basically, you still take Saturday and Sunday off?
No. Like a Saturday or a Sunday might be a full day off.
Wow. Okay. But most normal people use the weekends to relax. You'll take one day of the weekend to relax.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's still like I guess because work isn't work. Like writing still
Right.
feels like I get a day off and I'm like
Okay.
still I'm writing.
Right.
This is making me sound crazy.
No, listen, this is your truth. This is your truth. And you have the success and the like. Here's the thing: people want success, they want to do all these things, but they don't realize it takes so much work. Like you have to work hard
if you
and
are
often.
an entrepreneur. I
Yes.
think like there are certain times when, like I feel guilty. I can feel guilty for taking time off, but I've gotten better about that.
Okay,
and
that's
like
good.
the first time that I took a real vacation was, I want to say 2021. And I realized I had been going 10 years straight. And it was like, I decided I was going to take January off. Because even when I would go away, I would still I feel like I needed to do a workation. Like I would have a deadline and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere. And I'd feel like a vacation because I'm like a beach is in front of me, but I'd still be like, I can't just do this. I have a deadline and I'm like still like writing or taking meetings or whatever it is. But 2021, I was like, and I had to tell people in advance. I was like, I'm going to take all of January off.
Wow.
And nobody believed me. and then they would still try to like schedule things. Like, and I was like, nah, I'm really taking all of January off. And I did that. And that was like, oh my gosh. And that was hard for me because I love January 1st. Like,
okay. Yeah,
January
New
1st,
Year,
oh my
let's
God.
go.
It's my bag. Like, the world is mine. And so to like not be doing anything, that was hard. And to have to put that aside. And it's also my birthday month. It was all these things. And it took a while to like adjust to that. But when I did, I just felt so free. And I was like, and I was so recharged by February. And so since then, like my last real vacation was Greece and I didn't do anything on that trip.
That's
and I was
nice.
like,
no laptop?
No laptop taken out.
Okay. You just had it just in case.
I had it just in case there wasn't a work emergency. But no, yes, I did not take it out. And like you said earlier, by day 5, I was like, before, honestly, I was like, I need to go. Because it was also traveling with friends and, we love each other, but we had never traveled that long together. And it was like, 5 days is our minimum. We don't need to do 7 ever again. I mean, our maximum, rather.
Your maximum. And in that January that you took off, in that month, what did you learn about yourself not working? Because I think the other thing is sometimes we can tie so much of our identity to our work. And so in that work, and I'm thinking about this with maternity leave, like I'm not working December. I've committed to, even though I work for myself, December and January, I'm not working.
Ooh.
But
you're going to have the baby.
Yes. So I'll be working in the nursery, like working, breastfeeding, but I won't be recording my podcast. I won't be making content. I won't be actively engaging in all the things that I feel like kind of make me who I am. And I'm like, what's that going to feel like?
Being a mom.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be a mom full time. So that's still, and I'm going to go back to judging you because that still doesn't count. I'm glad that you're like not going to try to do everything. And I feel like that's a big step. But like, that's going to be, you're not going to be sleeping. So you also won't be able to.
Yeah. Being a mom. And another thing you portrayed brilliantly on Insecure, just like that new mom struggle life.
With Condola.
And with Tiffany, too.
Oh, Tiffany, yes. You have no empathy. Got it. Yes, Tiffany, that's true. That's true. She was like
Condola
going through it in the behind the scenes, too. And that was something that we like wanted to portray. Like sometimes your friends, your single friends, and your
they
friends
don't get it.
They don't get it at
They
all.
don't understand. I still have, I remember when my first son was born, people were like, hey, can you meet for like happy hour? I was like, girl, I'm literally in a diaper right now. Like I'm not leaving the house. Yeah, but it's hard when you're like the first in your friend group to have a child because people don't really get it.
Yeah, one of my friends is the only one in our friend group to have a child, and I think about that frequently, like how much of an adjustment that's been for her.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't envy her.
It's hard. It's hard. It's like really certainly can't be sugarcoated. We have a little lightning round, a little beauty lightning round. Okay. I've been listening to Glorilla's album nonstop.
It's so good.
So good. When you are getting ready and you want to like get hype, like what is on the getting ready playlist?
Oh, so much. I have a playlist called Issa Gathers because usually that's like what I'll play when I'm having a party or something like that. Or
is this on Spotify? Is this public? Can we access
public.
it? It's private.
I made all my playlists private because I don't work judgment. But that playlist. I mean, I've definitely added a lot of the Glorilla songs on there. I was just talking about this. Yeah, I'm just gonna say right now it is the Sexy Red Glorilla song, the Wipe Me Down kind of
Yes.
remix.
It's so good. I feel like your glam always looks really good. And I know sometimes you work with the same makeup artists frequently, but sometimes you have to work with new people.
Mhm.
But the like signature Issa, like glowy skin, like nudes, like you keep it so consistent.
Thank you. Shout out Joanna.
Yes, Joanna Simpkins, so talented. But when you are in the glam chair, what do you ask for?
Oh,
How do people get the Issa recipe?
People generally ask for like, so it starts with like, I mean, if it's on photo shoots, but me, I like to be just more clean. I like to look like myself.
Okay.
And I get asked a lot what I want, but I'm very, like I said, minimalist. So like,
Right.
Usually the adjectives that are used is just more clean, glowy skin.
Clean, glowy skin. And do you give direction on like eyeshadow?
I don't. I'm
Okay.
like,
Neutral. I
You're
feel
the
like you're-
artist here.
Okay.
I'm your palette. I mean,
Yes.
is that it?
Yes. Yes.
What's your palette? Canvas. Thank
Canvas.
you. I'm your canvas. Thank you.
Okay, you're going to get your nails done. You're at the nail salon. Do you go to the nail salon or someone comes to you?
Someone comes to me now, but I was just saying, literally this morning, that I might want to start going to the salon again, because when they come to you,
You don't want to go to the salon. You want them to
you
come
don't want
to you.
this life. I did go to a salon recently in New York, quickly, because I needed a pedicure, and that was a bad experience, because it was just, I went to a random one, and I
Yeah.
was like, y'all not even cleaning the bowl. Like, can I have to ask you to clean the bowl? That's crazy. But no, like, I like the full manicure treatment when they put your hands in the water and all that, and so it's
Yeah.
usually quicker. But yes, I work
Okay.
with an amazing nail tech.
Amazing. So what is your go-to like color, length, shape?
This is mine. Like, I love a little
An
almond and
long almond.
typically I like a French tip of some sort with the color.
Oh, nice.
But summer is my bag, and when spring summer come, I'm a bright nail girl.
Okay. Are you like a white toes on vacation girl?
I used to be, but I'm switching it up now. I'm just more like nude or colors, whatever,
Okay.
whatever the fuck I want. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to be like confined.
Okay. Go-to fragrance for day.
I use a fragrance by Chloe,
Ooh.
but I forgot what it's called.
What does the bottle look like?
It's like rigged and
Yes, and
big
square.
And yeah, I dropped it on my foot one time. That shit hurt. It's not square. It's circular.
Oh,
Yeah.
ridged and circular. Okay, I'll have to look
Mhm.
up which one that is.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
And do you have a nighttime scent?
Yeah, Rihanna's Fenty scent in
Ooh, the brown
bottle.
amber
Yeah,
bottle.
yeah.
It's very intoxicating. There's something in that that's like
yes,
addictive.
I've gotten some comments when I wear that. I'm like, oh, I feel like Rihanna.
Biggest beauty splurge? Something that you'll spend a lot of money on.
Skincare products for sure.
Skincare?
Like, even just to try it. If it's, I'm done where I'm like, oh, this is expensive. It must be good. And honestly, I'm trying to get like some of these Korean skincare products. I've seen them like that there's like the culture of great skin over there. Yeah, it matters, and it's clearly working. But yeah, I will splurge on, like, Dr. Stern products are also amazing, and the fact that they like target dark skin is great. I'll splurge on those.
Yeah. And you know, she worked with Angela Bassett on the darker skin tones line.
She did?
She did.
I
Which
did
for
not know
me
that.
was the seal of approval I needed to invest.
I did not
Yes.
know that. Does Angela say that publicly?
I think it's public knowledge.
I'm gonna look
I
that
think
up.
it's
That's
public
great.
knowledge. I've interviewed Dr. Sturm on the show before, and yeah, because I was like, what? You know, she's a white German woman.
Yeah, I know. I saw her one time, and I was like, "Oh shit!" From her
Yeah.
distance, she was just kicking it out of like a Soho House in London. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, she's
that's you."
Yeah, she's kind of a vibe. She's cool.
She is.
Yeah, she's cool.
She was with her daughters. I didn't want to approach her.
Yes. Day off, you're at home. You're one day off. You allow yourself in the 7 days. What are you putting on? Are you doing any makeup whatsoever? Are you just doing sunscreen
No.
and sweatpants? Like, what is your like day off? You
My
wake up.
morning skincare, which I'm excited to do, and just like lounging.
Like, so do you wear loungewear?
What is loungewear beyond sweats? Are you like, do you wear fancy like pajamas?
I love like a nice like loungewear moment.
I like it when I'm like away. When I'm
Okay.
away, I will purposely pack like whatever a matching set for
Yeah.
something to lounge in. But at home, no. I love being raggedy. It's like I just get to be gross and my hair is a mess. But like again, I'm not ashy, but I'm just like not
Yes.
trying
You don't have to think about it.
at all.
Yeah.
And it's just there's something nice about being off and going to the bathroom and seeing yourself in the mirror and being like, oh, like, ooh, God, I'm glad nobody's gonna see me today. And it almost forces me home, and in some ways makes me more productive too.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Final question. When do you feel most beautiful?
Um when do I feel most beautiful? When I'm fully myself, honestly. Yeah, I feel most beautiful when I'm in my element, being myself, surrounded by people and the life that I've curated.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much, Issa. This
Thank
was such a
you.
pleasure.
It was such a great time talking to you. You're
Yay.
amazing.
Amazing. Thank you.